is a day so many of us will never forget and vividly recall exactly where we were on September 11th, 2001.
One Spring Branch ISD official was with then-President George W. Bush at a school in Florida where the commander-in-chief first heard that America was under attack. Jason Miles has his story.
2 decades later,
It's hard to believe it's been that long.
the passage of time hasn't fogged Terry Abbott's memory of 9/11.
I don't forget anything about that day.
At the time, Abbott was chief of staff for U.S. Secretary of Education Rod Page, a former Houston ISD superintendent for whom Abbott had also worked here in Houston. Although his name is misspelled on Air Force One's flight manifest, Abbott and Page flew to Florida with President George W. Bush and others on September 10, 2001.
This was while we were working to get his education policy, No Child Left Behind, passed through the Congress.
The next day, on September 11th, Abbott prepared for a news conference in a school library when President Bush, in a nearby classroom full of children, got a whisper from his chief of staff that no president would want to hear.
He said, "A second plane has hit the second tower. America is under attack."
How would you describe the look in President Bush's eyes?
Deep concern.
Abbott says the entourage was aware about the first plane crash before entering the school building, but initial speculation was that it may have been the result of some terrible accident.
I can promise you that there wasn't a single person that I was around that day who thought for a second about it being a terrorist attack, not until the second plane hit.
Now Executive Director of Communications and Community Engagement for Spring Branch ISD.
Not a single child in our district who was even alive on 9/11. So they have no personal memory like all of us do.
Abbott believes curriculums should not glance over what happened 20 years ago, a heartbreaking part of history that remains ingrained in our collective consciousness.
Because they need to have that feeling, because it's that generation that will be the next one that has to stand up to terrorism.
In Spring Branch ISD, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.